All right, welcome into Blockchain Basement. On today's episode, we're going to talk about the path for Ethereum to get to 3K. Every bank in the world launching a Bitcoin ETF. All this and more. Oh, and at the end, we're going to talk about some top altcoins to keep an eye on that could get you rich in 2024. All this and more on today's Blockchain Basement. You ready for this? I'm ready. Welcome.
If you're gonna screw me, at least pull my hair.
Hell yeah. What you got?
They could start chopping off fingers. They're like, give me your seed phrase, but I don't know it.
Out to give the numbers out. And I was like, no, hang up the phone right now.
Or like when it dropped in 2020, was it like exciting?
400,000 to 600,000. The generational signals are now.
Level. So I don't even know if we're gonna get back below there, but if we do, that's kind of where we
All right, welcome in, Basement Dwellers. We're going to have a really good episode for you guys today. Shout out to all of you in the chat, all of you in the Discord. We've got BJ on the couch today, not on the board, Biscuit Jesus. We've got the Druth dropping. Somebody said you're going to get the Druth, the whole Druth, and nothing but the Druth. And from BitLab Academy, the one and only Kelly Kellum. We've got Owen on the board for us today, switching all the cameras, keeping everything up to date, messing with the sound. So if there's any sound problems,
blame him.
Yep. Yeah, it's not BJ's fault today. And shout out, obviously, to all of you in the Discord. Sincere, Crimson Caravan Company, Scotty Swing, Crypto Halligan, Joe, Jay Waffle House Man, Green Day Profits, Cali Crypto Dude, Ariel for Life, Hannah Hughes, Ryan Anderson, Thumbnail Investor, JMZM, Justin Eubanks, Julio, Chili Rainbow, Asmir, Mario, Cantonese, and many more. We love all of you guys. Happy Monday. What is behind me? This doesn't go here.
Whoa.
Happy day to be in Bitcoin. Yeah, get that out of here. We don't have time for that.
Time for that shit.
Really fun seeing all these different banks. I think kind of the big news of today, HSBC announcing they're going to be doing a Bitcoin ETF. We're going to be talking about that in just a second, but just want to say shout out to all of you guys. Hope you guys had a great weekend. I am loving summer of bear market accumulation, hanging out on the lake, in the water, and just buying Bitcoin, Ethereum, and watching it pump. You know, it's great. It's fun when things go up instead of down. So.
Hang out on the lake must be nice.
Well, isn't that what you did too this weekend?
Yeah.
So yeah, Kelly, real quick, you went live earlier today?
Went live earlier today. Yeah.
What was kind of the highlight of the BitLab stream this morning?
Funny, by the way, none of us, we don't coordinate on who's going to prepare what for what stream.
Yeah.
But I talked a bit. The thumbnail was bullish, bulls ready, essentially, ETFs starting the run, because we're seeing, basically highlighted the fact that the ETFs, GBTC and BITO, both seeing huge influxes of trading volume and interest coming back into them, which is excellent right now, because that means there's some there's some retail in that, but a lot of institutional and traditional asset manager sort of engagement back with the crypto market right now. And being that we set that low at 15,000, got rejected at 25, and now bounced at that area twice, and now pushing up past 30. It looks like could we have a little liquidity dip? Sure, we can, but all in all, we're seeing the full sort of reversal into an actual structure that we can call a bullish trend starting, which is very, very exciting to see.
Absolutely. Also, I did want to say Free Dave Digital, I think he did get released from Banhammer jail. I heard the Nick Tater was on a little bit of a power trip last week. So he has been freed. And yeah, Music Tag says, I'm surprised Vanguard, it says has applied for an ETF also, but I think he means hasn't, which it is kind of surprising. But really, BlackRock and Vanguard, kind of same thing. BlackRock is where they run a lot of those ETFs through. So,
Vanguard did have they were part of the whole consortium with Citadel and all that, though. Yeah, so they are getting their exposure in other ways.
Yeah, they have a lot of exposure
side.
Yeah, through MicroStrategy, through Fidelity, through a lot of those other things. So Shane Hansen, another really popular one in the Discord there. Shout out to him. And also, a lot of people enjoyed the Drutha, the Blockchain Bunker episode. So for you guys that don't know, the schedule is still going to be Blockchain Basement live Monday through Friday. And then we'll just drop those bunker episodes in Sunday night, maybe throughout the weekend, a couple times a week as we can. So.
I still own the IP rights on the Drutha. Right.
Clearly,
yeah.
Just making sure
we got the video evidence here, but technically, Hit Network has all that. So.
What?
Employment contracts.
I dug deep, man. I went back to 1907, actually 1897. I looked at a lot of the history of the Titanic, and just had a little bit more context to the situation and where we did.
But the Olympic or the Titanic?
Well, that's
depends who you ask.
That's the question. All right, let me cover this HSBC thing. Then we're going to get into some global liquidity, some money printing going on around the world, and then Ethereum and a little bit more. So, as we already mentioned, Hong Kong now lets customers trade Bitcoin and Ether ETFs. Which again, Ethereum, Bitcoin getting a lot of love right now, but Ethereum getting some as well. I think is going to be an extremely well-positioned top performer in the next cycle. Sure, you can make a lot of money with alts, but Ethereum, I guess it is technically an alt, but yeah. So here we go. HSBC Hong Kong, the largest bank in the special administration region of China, now allows customers to trade Bitcoin and Ether, exchange-traded funds or ETFs listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. There are 3 crypto ETFs listed on HSBC's Hong Kong investment platform: Bitcoin Futures ETF, SOP Ethereum Futures ETF, and Samsung Bitcoin Futures Active ETF. Interesting. I wonder what that is. As per screenshots of the platform seen by The Block, Colin Wu, and Chinese Crypto reported, the first reported of the news. So again, if you guys, there is a difference between futures and spot. Part of what makes what BlackRock has been filing for, and a lot of these recent filings so relevant, is their spot Bitcoin ETFs. We've had futures Bitcoin ETFs for a while. That's what futures are getting traded on the CME. So this is kind of them catching up to some of that stuff that's been going on over here, but it's still more people wanting to get exposure. This one, at least paper exposure to Bitcoin and Ethereum.
It's kind of like a good way to think about it is with the future side, it's allowing the institutional and more accustomed traditional asset managers to have an inroad before retail. That's kind of the difference between the futures and the spot. Not that retail doesn't have access to futures, but retail, the traditional person is not very well read on what futures are. They're trading on a more spot basis, maybe some leverage, but the spot allows retail and allows pension funds and other all these other avenues of liquidity to flow in.
Well, and the biggest difference with spot is you actually have to the asset actually has to change hands. So when you're spot buying it, somebody has to have the Bitcoin here and it needs to go to this Bitcoin there. With futures, you're just trading paper contracts back and forth. And so one thing to keep in mind we saw a lot when both Bitcoin and Ethereum, when those futures ETFs were launched, everyone's like, oh, this is going to be bullish. It actually wasn't, because what it does is it now creates a function for these institutions Kelly was referring to short, so they can hedge their positions. So really, a lot of times when you see futures ETFs launched, it really isn't quite as bullish for the price, because what it allows these people to do is it just gives them a better way to control where they can be long and short at the same time and hedge their positions. So it'll be interesting to watch how this develops. But the spot Bitcoin ETF means when a purchase is made, Bitcoin is actually being held in custody that needs to be sent back and forth, rather than just a contract that gets renewed every 30 days or monthly or quarterly or whatever it's being traded as.
I will say too, though, like if anybody's worried about what's going on in the digital asset ecosystem, whether it's here or globally, my question to you would be if you see railroad tracks being built, the trees being cut down to lay railroad tracks through a forest, would you bet on the fact that there's going to be a railroad on those tracks soon or not? And that's essentially what's happening right now when you're seeing futures ETFs initially here in the U.S. and then globally. Now we have all these spot ETFs that have opened globally, but now also being developed here in the U.S., especially with BlackRock. If you're wondering if this ecosystem is going to survive, look at what the biggest players in the financial ecosystem in the world are doing. They are building railroad tracks right now. I'm buying property near those railroad tracks. And the way you do that is getting exposure to things like Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Yep.
Shout out to Dave Digital, said he since Nick's not here or whatever. But Ryan Anderson, I don't know if were in my living room this weekend, but I actually did watch the original, well, with Gene Wilder anyway.
Blazing Saddles?
No.
Where the wild things are?
Such a good.
Willy Wonka. And he says he says right there, oompa doompa doopity doo. If you were wise, I'd listen to TJ and Drew. So you got me cracking up, and I'm like, dude, I just watched that movie. That's so weird. I think Saturday night I watched that. So anyway, coming back to this,
boysenberries taste like boysenberries.
Exactly. Schnausages. Hong Kong's recently introduced new licensing regime for crypto platforms as a part of its effort to attract more firms in the region, as the U.S. has been cracking down on the industry. Hong Kong's banking regulator, blah, 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 has also reportedly put pressure on HSBC, Standard Chartered Bank of China, who holds special role as issuers of the city's currency, to accept crypto exchanges as clients. And to Kelly's point, what he was just saying, at this point, I think it's very clear Bitcoin, blockchain, Ethereum, it's not going anywhere. Now, it might change a lot over the next 10, 15 years, but this industry is here to stay, and it's only going to grow over these next 10 or 15 years. And what it may look like, who knows? But growth is coming. So if you want to be a part of that growth and you get in now, I think it's one of the best opportunities.
And just note, growth does not mean that price always goes up. And this is why I argue, I suggest when you're looking at charts, price is not your ultimate determining factor on when you get in and get out. Price is but a mere representation of what the tradable value is agreed upon on an exchange for that asset. The underlying fundamentals, and when you see the ecosystem growing, you see price dropping, ecosystem growing, that's a bullish divergence of fundamentals. That's when you're looking for entries.
Absolutely. All right, let's look at some of this macro stuff, get a little hyped up about what might push the price, is all this money printing. So the Chinese liquidity has increased recently, and that's coincided with a move higher in Bitcoin, which has been a theme this year. You guys have known we've been talking about this pretty much since January, maybe even December. As the post-pandemic recovery stalls, expect more of the same from the People's Bank of China into the year if data continues to disappoint. So here we go. Here along the bottom, I love the way he does this. He shows when they add liquidity into their markets, and then boom, immediately we see a price spike after that. And then this is where we just saw recently, boom, they started printing again. And it is amazing the way the same time they're printing is the same time BlackRock ETF gets announced. Other macro news coincides with all of this. You got the chart needing a bounce right here, where all the traders and the TA guys were asking the TA guys to get us back above this level. And somehow, People's Bank of China prints. The United States raises the debt ceiling. We get Bitcoin ETFs. All of this stuff comes together all at the same time. And it's just really fascinating. So
I always wonder, with all this stuff as it plays out, I always wonder if there's actually some backdoor coordination and these things are lined up to happen. happen, which is probably some of it, or if it's also much like when we look at price action on a chart and we could pull a fib and we say we know a bounce is likely to come to this level based on, the way Fibonacci's work in charts. And also, by the way, for people who don't realize, it's not just charts. Fibonacci's, it's the golden ratio of how nature is organized as well. So I wonder if these things is directly just backdoor coordination, backroom coordination to make all these things happen at the same time, or if there's also some sort of like time fib where it's like when there's something happens at certain regular intervals that all these things also tend to happen at those. I think that's where this whole, and I don't want to make this astrological, but I think that's where some of the people that speak astrologically and how it affects the charts, I think that's where some of that comes in. It's like the time-based coordination of things and how they play out. Either way, these things are lining up. Confluence. Let's get it.
Yeah, no, that's a really interesting theory. Basically, almost
it's
like
literally epigenetics.
Yeah.
But it's the epigenetics of the market, that the environment and the mental state of the people do regulate the market, and that is a predictable, followable pattern.
Yeah, or even like, if you think about the butterfly effect of, things that have consequential effects, it's like, it's the Fibonacci time sequence of a butterfly effect, and I'm sure it would be some kind of formula. The further you get away from the initial event, the longer the time.
So within this time region, it just so happens you have 4 or 5 things happening, and it feels coordinated, which I'm sure there is some of.
Right. So for example, the SEC going after Coinbase and Binance the same time the banks are launching their ETFs, that's coordination. But China printing their money, that's actually a response to the United States printing, their liquidity, all that sort of
competition.
stuff. So
they both shut down at the same time. They both have to restart their economies, and we are heavily reliant on a world trade system.
That's how we knew it was inevitable. When the Bank of Japan started, then the Bank of China started, then the United States started. We couldn't let them print a lot while we weren't, otherwise we lose the currency.
Well, if you look at like the uncertainty principle and things like that, until observation, there's infinite possibilities. So if you're in the school of thought a little bit farther away from string theory, where you go into what's known as emergence theory, that once people actually start having these ideas and manifestations, it does create literally almost like a cosmic reaction. So it's kind of like, that's what we're saying, like, not to be super woo-woo, but that's exactly how it is. It's like, it's
kind of like the pyramids on multiple different continents when people couldn't communicate, all being built at the same time.
Yeah, no, I mean, you have a collective consciousness there. It's a similar thing to where Drew and I could both do the same exact experiment, theoretically not have any error, but end up with different results because we're different observers. So once you get people on that same mentality, 2020 was a really good example of what's known as mass formation, where everybody got in a certain mindset and things move a certain way. Like, that's why it's really important to kind of control people's thought processes, because you do control people psychologically, environmentally, and everything else. And then eventually genetically and epigenetically.
We get deep today.
Yeah,
it's relevant.
So even take it one step further, my brother and I are we're having a chat on the boat this weekend. He keeps bees, and he was talking about an interesting theory. A lot of old kingdoms and rulers have been beekeepers over the years and studied bees and the hive mind. And, there's a lot of interesting theory of where is the intelligence within the beehive. There's a lot of books written on it, because it's not necessarily the queen. It's not any one individual. And to what BJ was just talking about, if you're trying to control a hive or a mass, they studied, here's how you move one thing, you pull this one bee out, what effect will that have? Pull this one out, what effect will that have? I don't know. It was just a really interesting conversation, but we are going to pull this back to crypto. Sorry. We'll come back around. But Genre G just did point out, we got over 300 people watching, only 100 likes. So if you guys are watching right now, if you wouldn't mind, smash that like button. It helps other people learn about timeline
Bang the button of collective consciousness.
Yes, bang the button of collective consciousness. If you don't, we'll know.
We will.
We're just asking you to touch our button, please.
Yeah, dude. Just flick the button.
Okay, so as far as liquidity goes, we've got the people's bank.
There's going to be liquidity.
Oh, yeah. We'll be big splashes.
Okay, now I'm quiet.
Hit that gold
People's
ratio.
Bank of China printing, but we've also got $700 billion increase in U.S. national debt since the debt ceiling was suspended just 3 weeks ago. Under the Fiscal Responsibility Act of 2023, only the government could get away with a plan to borrow and spend trillions of dollars and call it fiscal responsibility.
Yeah.
So just like, we're doing it in different ways. This is what Drew's been pointing out. Again, we basically called all this perfect since the beginning of the year. We're increasing our money supply, the liquidity of the dollar, basically by rate going back into deeper debt. So that inevitably is what pumps the price somewhat. I did see something interesting today that was saying basically if you use the M1 money supply, or if you account for inflation, the 6K that we touched in 2018 is the same, you know, even though it went to 3-ish K or went lower. Apparently, it was saying it was bouncing off the same level if you adjust for inflation, right around 6K both times in 2018, 2019, and then right around, I can't remember what it was, like 15 or 14 in 2021, 2022. It was interesting. Same levels if you're accounting for inflation. So, but all that money printing, all those ETFs, I think is what's going to be really pushing the prices up. And the question is Bitcoin and Ethereum getting more valuable or dollars getting less? Either way, you don't want to have your lifetime supply of savings in the dollar. I
definitely think it's both.
Yeah,
I definitely think it's both. And you know, like how we work for these 401ks, these $1 million packages to retire on, and I'm already seeing the results of those packages not be enough for people to actually retire. Even if you work, you know, police or, you know, really, really good retirement type positions, the retirement and like the end goal just keeps being pushed beyond reach, it feels like, because everyone stays in this hyperinflationary system that they just are being boiled slowly and like a frog in a pot, basically. So, yeah.
Somebody asked, explain this OG chat thing to me, multi-sig dummy. Basically, that's just the members. If you join YouTube members, you get access to YouTube, some special, Discord, some special chats in Discord, and obviously preferential chat here on the YouTube stream. And no, we are no longer streaming this on Twitch.
There's actually a new room in there. I haven't done anything. Called Risky Biscuits.
Oh,
so I'll be putting some stuff in there.
Fun magic tricks.
It's going to be all over the place.
I love it.
It's
Risky
me.
Biscuits. Yeah.
If a room based off of me, it's going to be chaos.
Yeah. There's also the Druth in there for people that are into anything Drew's into, and Nick Tatership. You know,
we all have our own special feeds of news and flow and everything.
So,
it's great.
Yeah, dig in there. It's a lot of fun. We're having fun building that out. So, all right, if Ether price. Let me ask you guys this: what price point do you think Ethereum could get to this year?
Ask me.
All right. Well, you say 0. I want a real answer.
Oh, this year?
This year.
I say 5,200.
Really? 5,200.
No.
Wow.
No, I think on Bitcoin and ETH, we might get, I'd say 65% of the all-time high, and then we're going to have all these ETFs, and then they're going to want unrealized losses are going to dump the price. But I don't think we go. I mean, that would be what? 15% above the all-time high?
I'm thinking
more than that.
You're thinking next year.
I'm thinking I'm thinking 2024. This year.
Well, if you listen to TJ and we're a good listener, he said by the end of this year, which is 2023.
I was looking at my phone. Yeah, I would say.
Wow.
I would say, let me revise my statement. I would say, what was our all-time high before? 40.
You could say 45, 4,600.
So 3,700 then.
3,700. All right, which would be more in line kind of what BJ was saying.
Yeah.
Would you say 80% of all-time high?
Yeah, that's like 70, 80 feels right, because I can't be the only one who thinks that they're going to basically dump the price to get the unrealized losses. Like if ETFs and all these big companies are getting involved, like they're going to do that classic move, are they not?
Could 3,600 would be 80% of previous all-time high for Ethereum.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
All right, Drew, any thoughts?
I'm thinking like 3,200. 3,000, 3,200 feels about right for what I think everything's going to be landing at.
You guys are a lot more bullish tonight. All right, Brian Anderson,
but
welcome.
end of December is different.
Let us know in the chat what you guys think. Price for Ethereum by the end of this year, or like how high could it get by the end of this year? Like I said, welcome to Ryan Anderson. Crypto Tutorial says great alpha in this week's TJ's chat. It's TJ's alpha chat in Discord. So see, this article here is talking about a path back to 3K. Plausible. I don't know if we'll get back to 3K. I don't know how much more pump we're going to see. We'll probably see some action when these things get approved, but there's a pretty long timeline that they could take to approve these things. I'll be interested to see how long it takes these applications to get approved. We'll cover this. I'd be surprised if we get above 3K this year, to be honest.
Okay.
But we'll see. On-chain data and ETH price charts are beginning to hint at a possible rally to 3,000. You guys aren't alone in thinking this. Ethereum's on-chain movements indicate bullish pressure building around Ether as its exchange balances reached an all-time low. And this is what's kind of interesting to me. The exchange balances at an all-time low and staking deposits keep surging. So there's less selling pressure and more buying pressure probably than we've ever seen for Ethereum before, because now there's a reason to hold it through the bear market, unlike before, pure traders would just dump it.
But not only that, I talked about this on the BitLab stream today too. You know, the same thing's happening with Bitcoin. When you're having all these coins that are being held in private storage, you're creating a massive sort of
Liquidity crunch.
Situation of illiquidity, right? And so if there's not a lot of liquidity on exchange to trade, even if people are doing it because they want to hold, because they're really bullish, or they're doing it because, you know, we had cascading failures last year that have, you know, perpetuated into this year with a lot of the bank closures as well. And everybody's very distrustful of centralized institutions, especially in crypto. We're seeing a lot of flight from exchange into private storage. And by removing that liquidity from exchanges, you're thereby simultaneously, without adding any extra demand, making every bit of demand that's there have more of an impact because there's not as much supply to satisfy the demand. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the course of this year, because there's still questions about whether or not there's going to be, I don't want to call it systemic crash, because I don't want to, but because so there's this bullishness. You know, we see 7 or 8 stocks, for instance, buoying, 493 of the 500 stocks on the S&P 500 are accounting for like 4 or 5% of the gains, whereas 7 of those stocks are accounting for 93% of the gains, right? So there's a lot of bullishness happening in sectors, but is that bullishness a bubble formation, or is there some new dynamic shift out of traditional equities and traditional stocks into this new sort of tech advancement that's happening with AI? And is it a bubble? And that's the question. I think if that wasn't there, will we already be in a recession? And because it is there, is it going to be a bubble that pops and we go into a deeper recession, or is it going to buoy everything and we're just going to float through this in this bizarre way? TXMC, wonderful analyst that I follow online, was asking about this today. When we have all these historically 100% accurate things that suggest that we're absolutely going to go into a recession, is this time going to be wrong and we're not going to go into it, or is something different? And my response was, one of the things I'm seeing is maybe the dynamic shift is that the control of narrative is different now than it has been in the past. So maybe the government is just better at sweeping things under the rug and kicking the can down the road so they can polish a turd and tell everybody it's precious metal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about the potential for these banks and their, risks of collapsing and stuff. And, I mean, basically what I see what I think is going to happen is regional banks, we're going to see more crashes. Then we're going to see an overreaction by the federal government with quantitative easing or financial injections, whatever you want to call them, basically to hoist that system back up and actually overreact on their positive monetary injections. On top of that, you're going to have the elections beginning. And from what I've seen, just every time that the elections begin, there's some sort of amazing financial thing that happens to society if you're involved with major infrastructural improvements or huge packages for, positive movement financially to get people feeling really good. And what they've been feeling really bad about is inflation and all this other stuff. And these elections campaigns are rarely done around fear. They always have to offer a dash of hope.
It's like when you're a kid, you're not very incentivized to clean your room on a Monday, but that room is clean on Friday, 2 hours before you ask your mom to go out. Right? Yeah. It's exactly what the government's doing.
Yeah. Chemistry Bro says ETH tokenomics are primed for price to scale with usage as supply inversely related to usage. Yeah, I agree. And you came in late. We were talking about 2023. I saw your prediction, and I agree in 8 to 14K for 25 or 20. End of the bull market.
Even the Ethereum bear agrees with that.
I think that's pretty good. I did see multi-sig dummy asking, trying to get that link to the Discord. He did sign up. Could you drop that in the chat? Do you mind, BJ?
Where is
you'd have to grab it from the Discord. We'll try to drop it in there or send it to you, multi-sig dummy. We'll get it set up to where you get that emailed automatically when you sign up. I think it will be in the mid 2 range. I think it could pump up above 2 pretty easily with some momentum, but I think falling back, I think we'll probably be close to the prices we are now around the halving, unless we get some big hype on these ETFs that get approved and hold some higher levels.
Sorry, who's this going to?
I was just seeing if you could drop it in the YouTube chat.
Yeah.
So anybody can join in who you get extra stuff if you're a YouTube member, but So here, real quick, let me show some of these net inflows just so you guys can see it. So we've got, outflows here for Ethereum. The net flow volume of deposits and withdrawals from exchanges show a steep surge in withdrawals at the start of June amid regulatory crackdown on Binance. Yeah, and that was also we've seen a lot of withdrawals from exchanges, this year because we've got exchanges going under. But you can see right here, this is net outflows of, deep into the red starting, is this January 23, so really just with tons of withdrawals in January, or really of all of 2023. Glassnode data shows that nearly 30% of ETH supply is locked in smart contracts, including DeFi and staking contracts, up from 25.5 at the start of 2023. So already 5% of the total supply more locked up since the beginning of this year, let alone what's getting burned.
It's all in Lido.
It's in smart. Could be a lot of it is in
Heavily in
Lido. A lot of it is in Coinbase. But I mean, we've also had a lot of other DeFi products and things launching this year that DeFi exchanges, perpetual dexes, all that sort of stuff that obviously suck up a lot of ETH. Breakout above. So this is what. I don't know, I'm not as big of a TA guy, but a breakout above 2,000 could quickly propel ETH toward the 2022 breakdown levels of around 3,000. The targets of bullish ascending channel pattern also coincide around these levels. So I could see it, again, breaking up towards that, probably getting rejected off of 3,000, coming back down to test the levels that it's at now before we really take off and, into the halving, past the halving, etc. Relative strength index. I know this is something you guys look at a lot. Metric is showing oversold readings for the ETH BTC pair, suggesting that a pullback is likely.
Is that on the daily? What is that?
Let's see. Let's look at this. This is on the daily. Yeah. So if you look at it on the daily, and this is ETH to BTC.
See, but one of the things I like to look at on this is not just that it's in the oversold area. Another way to look at this also, I think it confuses people. They see relative strength index, they think overbought, oversold. In reality, think about what the name is, relative strength index. So rather than think of it being overbought or oversold, yes, it can be thought of that way. But when you see the RSI very low, especially on the daily or any time frame above that, the 3-day, the weekly, especially the monthly, if you're seeing it below the 50 line, then generally the market is the market of that is weak, right? So it's below the 50 line. It's definitely down near the bottom. But look all the way to the left side of that chart. Look at that. It traveled there for over a month and a half in that oversold area. So the market can remain not irresponsible.
Irrational.
The market can remain irrational longer than most people can remain solvent. So don't be trying to buy the ETH BTC pairing just because it shows oversold. Look for other signals. This is only but one signal you need to look at in your entire toolbox when you're trying to make your decision.
Oh, awesome. Love that super chat from Crypto Thorn. Says, thank you guys at the Hit Network and the Basement. Over the past 3 years, closing on a house in Orange Beach in August, couldn't have done it without y'all.
Bitcoin
Awesome.
Beach?
Bitcoin Beach? No, that's not.
Orange Beach?
Yeah, well, it was big. We did. I used to go to that for a while. Now they've moved that to El Salvador. That's what they call the city in El Salvador. But huge shout out to Crypto Thorn. We've seen you in the chats for years and years. Love to see that. Love to hear those success stories. So yeah, Ethereum looking strong. I have some interesting thoughts about this. Want to hear what you guys think. So Brian Armstrong envisions Coinbase eventually becoming a super app. Coinbase will look more like Tencent's WeChat than the simpler crypto exchange interface of today, CEO Armstrong said. So,
is he going to partner?
No, WeChat's definitely Tencent.
Is he going to partner with Elon Musk someday?
Oh,
I don't know.
I'm thinking of WhatsApp.
Yeah, WhatsApp is Meta. So WeChat. What do you guys think about Coinbase evolving from a crypto exchange? And I'm not going to read this article to a super app like WeChat. I mean, you guys all know what WeChat is, right?
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Drew?
I mean, I think since Brian Armstrong feels comfortable enough coming out with basically a copycat line that Elon Musk came out with when he took over Twitter. Elon Musk is no fool, and he's been watching the just immense growth of WeChat and kind of how people want easy interoperability from their phones, ordering food, doing all these different things through one source. It's very profitable for that company. So I think that personally, Brian saying, yeah, we want to go this way too. I think that I could see maybe a partnership between the two after XApp is rolled out, and then Coinbase gets that regulatory, okay, we're going to stop suing you to keep everyone out of the crypto markets. You're good to go. You're good to go. And then I could see a marriage of the two happening. And from there, socials, crypto, payments. Yep.
Interesting. Anybody else before I'll hop in. I have a counter to that, but I want to see if anybody else had any initial thoughts before I go.
You're excited.
I have thought. Yeah, I have thoughts. All right, so no, I don't see them partnering with Elon Musk or Twitter at all. And here's why. I think the U.S. government sees the power of WeChat, and they know they need some type of welcome to OG status, Mountain Man. Love to have you. They know the United States needs a super app that has government access, because if we can get that built, that will give us so much more information about our citizens. I think Elon Musk knows the government wants to do that as well, and he's trying to build a private one, not build a state one.
They might not see eye to eye on the privacy.
Coinbase will be the state one, is my opinion, and I think they're basically setting them up to like, hey, they're gonna set up to be the chosen one. They're gonna get the special licensing. It was going to be FTX. FTX crap the bed. Now they're moving forward with Brian Armstrong. I mean, we've got this thing here where the U.S. Supreme Court sided with a Coinbase unit in a ruling that reinforces the ability of companies to channel customer and employee disputes into arbitration. Basically, this is their chief legal saying, or chief of compliance. Another win, and they're getting some W's here with this their case against the SEC, and it's becoming very clear the SEC is kind of fumbling on their arguments, and it looks like Coinbase is going to win, and they're probably set up to win. And if they win, then they've got a clear path to be the number one exchange here in the United States. And if they start rolling in some of these other features with government assistance, I could see them definitely moving towards a super app like WeChat and having the capability of making it look good, making it feel good, making it not feel very government, backed, kind of like Facebook was for a really long time. A lot of people didn't realize where it came from, how it started, who was using the information, what it was being used for. If they can get more, and the number one thing they're afraid of with digital currency is what they call transparency, but what they really mean is surveillance. And they know they can get that through Coinbase. Coinbase does a lot of chain analysis. So if the U.S. government can come together in a partnership with Coinbase without really making it very public, and let Coinbase onboard as many Americans as they can, or as many people around the world as they can, into their super app, I think that positions the United States much more strategically in the digital world to come than we are right now.
To that point, somebody brought up something about BlackRock, with their ETF that kind of ties in with all this as well. It kind of gave me pause, because I have mixed feelings about the whole BlackRock ETF thing as a whole. Anyway, on the one hand, I do think it's going to drive a lot of adoption to Bitcoin, or at least access and liquidity flow. But there's a couple things that tie in with that. When that happens, it's going to be a lot of, for people that are not getting involved now, you're starting to get to the point where you're missing the boat, because, and of course, there's a lot of adoption to go. But with BlackRock coming in, there's going to be a lot of huge institutional investment that's going to be pouring into that, and wealth funds, sovereign funds, pension funds, all these different things that are going to be getting access to Bitcoin through BlackRock. But because BlackRock has the largest assets under management, and they basically signaled that there was a partnership, do you call it, with Coinbase to custody this stuff. Well, is this also a little, I don't want to call it a backdoor, is this a little bit of a coordination with the U.S. government as well? Because if BlackRock is going to provide access of all this liquidity that will flow through Coinbase, then by nature, they become like a large venture capital firm that's going to have a bit of control over what Coinbase's decisions are. Because it's like, if we are going to partner with you and we are going to drive trillions of dollars through your doors, then you're going to need to delist these coins so that we can have clearer regulation from the government standing. So there's a lot of things that are at play right now that we really need to see what the fine print on all this is before going into the next 3 or 4 years, because it's going to have a drastic impact on the next decades.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's 100% BlackRock's playbook. They use their influence to gain board seats, and then they use those board seats to influence votes that help all of their other companies, all of their other investments. That's their standard playbook. They use their influence to gain control over the company, and then they use all the companies that they own to work together to increase their interest, which is not a bad.
Elon's in there though. He's got SpaceX. He's got micro tunneling.
Oh yeah, everything Elon Musk runs is owned by BlackRock and Vanguard.
Right.
So those are his funders.
That's what I was thinking. And we're gonna have a different administration by the time this really comes together. That's why I was thinking. Like, I know we have this super scary, we hate crypto type stance going on right now, but I think we're gonna have a different administration.
Well, we know who doesn't hate crypto.
Well, I
the
think
government that's buying it.
Yeah, I think that pendulum's gonna swing pretty hard the other way.
Yeah.
They hate it publicly right now because they're setting their rails up. Once the rails are set up, we should all be in digital assets as well.
Like all the banks. Think about all the banks that trash talk Bitcoin for the last 10 years. And then you find out that, I talked about this on BitLab last week. You find out that they have all these things that they're releasing now, these different profit centers, initiatives, whatever it is, whether it's JP Morgan, Bank of America, name the bank. They have all this exposure and also products and services that they're rolling out. They didn't make those last week. They've been working on these large corporations, especially banking conglomerates. They work on projects for 4 to 7 years before they roll out to the public. So when you look back 4 to 7 years of these of all the statements they've made and realize they've been trash talking while they've been building onto it, it's like, come on, same thing that the government's doing right now. They're slow playing it because they're getting there. It's like we were talking about earlier, the railroad tracks. They're building the railroad tracks, telling you, all we need is this dirt path. We don't need railroad tracks, just so you don't build a railroad track to compete with theirs. That's the only thing that they're doing.
So real quick to wrap this up, just so if you guys don't know, super apps bundle together a wide variety of activities like financial services, booking appointments with a doctor, chatting with friends, and much more. Tencent's WeChat is the best known one. There's been other ones. I think
that's TikTok too.
The closest thing we have here in the United States would be Meta. I mean, it is close. It has a chat, it has a marketplace. You buy and sell stuff. You do a lot. You can do a lot through it. But it's basically like an operating system where you do all of your work through it and all sorts of different stuff, and you just build on top of it. So, this is Brian. I think that in Coinbase's case, we want to be a super app, but it's all going to be based on decentralized protocols. Armstrong said, adding that the app will be used not just for money and assets, but also social interaction. So a social network. Again, I think it starts all being built on decentralized protocols. I think that's great. I think we should create a super app using decentralization. I think that's also the direction Elon Musk wanted to take things. It'll just be really interesting to see if that those values are maintained. Because
I think it's smart too, though, because they are a publicly traded company now, and they have to consider markets ups and downs. I mean, we see it right here with all the different streams we do here at Hit Network. We can track how well the market's doing by the engagement that's going on in the market. Engagement goes up when price is very high, or with we have a 3-day period of a lot of engagement. If a huge spike in engagement when there is a drastic thing that happens, like a SEC calling something a security or something. But large in part, when the market is flat, the engagement on social media and on social media. Whether it be video sites or chat, like community like Twitter, it's flat when the market's not exciting. And so with Coinbase, I'm sure that their revenue goes way down when the market's not doing exciting things. So they have to find other initiatives to drive new profit centers that diversify what their income comes from.
And speaking of initiative, the Deadwood says your local banks will want to hold custody of your coins very soon. Of course they will, but you have the choice not to.
Yep, exactly. Also, welcome to OG status, the Deadwood. We love it. We love you guys. All right, who's ready to talk some altcoins?
I'm ready.
You ready?
Let's do it.
I'm ready.
All right. Before we get into this, because I have been very strong about saying Bitcoin and Ethereum. I'm still not heavy into altcoins yet. Still
say the C word.
Still feel.
Say it, TJ.
No, I haven't said it. Huh?
Fine. Don't say the C word.
I still think best time to accumulate altcoins is right around the time of the halving, because you'll have a lot more conviction on which ones are going to be the ones that do run through 24 and 25.
Cardano.
And this is a good point that Fabian made here. He said 99% of altcoins are trades, not investments, or you can even say not long-term investments. But everyone still seems to think their bags are in that 1%. We call that exit liquidity. And I just want to stress that there's tons of coins out there. They pump. You make a lot of money. You need to take those profits. a lot of them, obviously, this happens a lot more in the bull market. Bear market, they're all over the place. But if you're holding something that pumped in the bull market and you're holding it for 5+ years, and it's, there's a chance it comes back, but most of them don't. And you need to be looking for new narratives and new coins, and not all of them, I guess. Like, there's things, if you launched 2019, 2020 and it didn't have a crazy run up in 2021, like, some of those can do really well. We're going to look at some of those in a minute, but there's all sorts of things that are out there right now that have been out there for the last couple of years that aren't going to do much in 24 and 25, because there's going to be new coins getting all the liquidity. So right. I just always want to make that reminder before we start pointing out some of the things that could do well in 24 and 25. This one, it's not necessarily uncommon, but I did want to point out it had a big move today. This is a pretty significant partnership. So Near Protocol, it is one I like. And a lot of these, I would just say I'd put these in the watch category. Watch them, accumulate them if you feel like they get into a range that works for you. Near Protocol sourced 12% following a partnership with Alibaba. Again, you always want to dig into and get more details about these partnerships. We've seen a lot of companies announce a partnership, and it's really just, we agree to do business together. Right. They're not really doing anything. So the Near Foundation, a Switzerland-based nonprofit organization behind the decentralized protocol Near Protocol, has reportedly teamed up with the Chinese tech behemoth Alibaba Cloud to support the advancement of Web3 in Asia and in the Middle East. So, like, if this is true, this is pretty significant news. Partnership will supposedly allow Near Foundation access to Alibaba's cloud developer network across the aforementioned regions. One goal of the collaboration is to attract more users to build on the Near Protocol. Developers will also be able to issue new validators through Alibaba's cloud, plug and play. So getting into their cloud, basically they've been working on this for a long time, the Alibaba cloud services. So getting access to this, it's not obviously the same as Amazon Web Services, but it is very significant.
Is this similar to the AVAX partnership with Amazon?
Oh my God.
I don't know the details of that.
Oh, I thought you were being sarcastic.
No, I don't really know. In addition to the two entities, they vowed to promote the procedure, blah, blah, blah. Similar to Bitcoin and many other alternative coins, Near has marked significant gains today, lately being up approximately 26%. So this is significant news. Did want to mention that. We've talked about it on this channel before. I'm watching Near Protocol. It's in one of those keep an eye on it categories for me. So I wanted to throw that one out there. I wanted to hear from you guys. I know, Drew, you and I talk about this. We're kind of in the similar boat. Like, what alts are you eyeing, accumulating, whether you're doing it now, whether you plan to do it in the future? Do you have any that you're looking at? I mean, we know you like DAG, but outside of that,
I got my DAG bag covered.
Okay. So, like, what's your strategy for altcoins? Are you buying any yet? When do you plan to buy some? Because you're heavy Bitcoin, Ethereum kind of like I am.
I'm heavy Bitcoin and Ethereum right now. I saw the pump last Friday, and I saw these things going great, so I held off on buying any altcoins or anything like that. Instead, I bought freeze-dried food. So I did that. But basically, I feel like I really need to cover my basis on layer 2s for Ethereum, but then also I'm going to be getting into the Cardano ecosystem. That's kind of, what I'm looking at, like the AADAs, the SNCs, you know what I mean? Just the fun, low market cap coins after I get my layer 2 bag covered. And that basically ranges from, like, I have a little OP, but definitely rounding out my OP holdings. I really feel strongly that even though beyond the horrible tokenomics of OP, I still feel like it's going to be a good performer.
Mitch M's has OP, ARB, Quant, Sweet, ETH, and XRP. Guys, let us know in the chat what your alts for next cycle you're keeping an eye on.
Because ARB is another one. Like, I'm not going into the next bull without ARB as well as OP. I know ZK Sync will be coming out, I think, in the beginning of next year, the end of this year.
I think you can get some if you just bridge from their website.
Yeah, you can. So the ZK Sync is one that I have to look at. And Mina, I'm out of. Like, I was in and out of Mina.
You're stealing all my picks, man.
I am?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. But, I mean, Mina's another one. But then, from there, then I'll be basically moving into the AI narrative. Like, basically just take it narrative at a time and make sure that I have a good exposure to each thing. Like, I feel like AI narrative, meme coins will probably be back at some point. So I might grab some really good name meme coins and and hold them and see if they do anything. But that's a very small percentage exposure just in case they pop. But layer 2s, and then these Bitcoin layer 2s. I'm really looking into things that are building smart contracts onto Bitcoin.
Stacks.
Yeah. Stacks looks really strong. There's like this BioP thing that Johnny brought up that
Bylon.
No, not by long. No, no. I know that one. Good luck, China, on that one. But yeah, like BioP on Bitcoin layer 2s, that smart contract. I mean, even if they don't succeed completely, it'll be part of a narrative where people will look at it. It's aggressive. It's controversial. It'll grab attention. And, I want to be positioned before all that happens.
Yeah. Seen a lot of good picks in the chat. We got Patrick Young, Arb, H bar near, Mike Bennett, ZK. Wait, no, let's see. We got Joe, Ada, XRP, OP, H bar, Kopi, Ajax, ICP, Filecoin, Arbmatic, IMX, Algo, H bar near from Crimson Caravan Company. Thumbnail investor trying to get more Adamatic, Mina, Render, ARB, OP, and ARB. Yeah, a lot of good picks in there. And Drew, good strategy there, going niche by niche, building out those portfolios. You must, where'd you come up with that?
Well, I mean, I think about it like roulette. When I'm like covering the spread on roulette. If I'm too spread out and it's only one little chip that's on one specific number, then you have a 1 in like 36 chance of hitting it. But if you go in between the 4 squares with a good amount of chips, you're covering a whole basis. And I view these different narratives as blocks on the roulette table where I'm essentially, just grabbing a good chunk of each because, sometimes you hit more than not. And like in the last bull run, I didn't even know what Polygon was. I picked it because I liked the logo. You know what I mean? I didn't even know what it was. And that one did amazing. And so I've kind of learned to make sure to have exposure to the altcoins, but the whole bag was born out of Bitcoin, then Ethereum, and then expand from there slowly in chunks of like 5%, on each narrative. So.
Yeah, well, my strategy is very similar. I did see a question in the chat. I lost the name, but he was asking what we think about SWI. My general thought on SWI, I think it's going to do well. The SUI, whatever. I call it both.
Because I'm assuming it's based off sui generis, which means unique or one of a kind.
What if it's not?
Well, it more than likely is based off the Latin.
Yeah.
Oh God, there's nothing there.
But I would say the tokenomics are similar to OP. Most of the distribution or the unlocks are happening between now and the halving. So again, waiting until getting closer to the halving, or at least January of 24. You're going to get most of the circulating supply out there for SUI. And I'd put another one. I love it. I'd put Aptos right there next to it. So just for the move programming language. But again, and those two are in the social, I believe in at least SUI in the social, social media kind of sphere, social network kind of area. I'm still going niche by niche. I'm still doing the same thing Drew's doing in building out my layer 2s. I'm trying to figure out how much I want to allocate towards that. Bitcoin, Ethereum first, layer 2 scaling solutions next. And then going niche by niche, building down. I haven't built them out just yet. Looking at a lot of the same ones: Arbitrum, Optimism, Blockstacks, DK Sync. I like a lot of those. What about you, Kelly? Any alts? Any thoughts on alts?
Yeah, I mean,
see you later, Eric.
For some reason, there's some people in the office that really don't like Avalanche. I really like.
I don't have a problem with Avalanche.
I like Avalanche, especially with whatever their partnership with Amazon is. I think that's probably a little overblown, but I also think we don't really know what it is they're going to do, and just by nature of how it's designed, I really like the 3-chain. It was A chain, B chain, C chain, or B chain, X chain, or something, whatever. The 3 chains really solves a lot of the scaling problems. Anytime you add a new node, you can infinitely scale it. So I really like Avalanche. HBAR. Really like what they're doing. They're kind of straddling a couple fields with their offering as well. I think Algorand's got unnecessarily crushed, and I think their underlying fundamentals are stellar. Not XLM stellar, just like really good. So I want to get. I actually sold my Algorand prior to my move. I did what all of us have trouble doing, which is taking money out of the market to advance your life.
Take profits.
You have to figure out when to do it. And for me, I took some profits when I was moving, so I could be liquid on that and not go into debt on my move. So the smart move there was to take capital out of the market to satisfy my move on a liquid basis. And so now I want to get back into HBAR, Algorand, Avalanche. I said I want to get more of, and there was another one that was on my mind.
While you're thinking that, what you're leaving out on
GRT and Ajax.
On Avalanche is I do think people should be looking at Rust protocols in general. There's a couple different coins that do that. AVAX does do that. So big things there are, like he was saying, the scalability. security, if you're able to get in basically through one attack vector, you really haven't gotten in yet. It's almost like if you break into a building and you successfully open one door, you still have to open every other door. The other thing is typically when you're programming an encoding language, you're programming in a language you can understand that then goes through a compiler that then changes into an assembly language that then the computing happens. Versus Rust, what you're coding in is what the computer uses for the assembly language. So that's awesome.
Less room for error. Basically.
Well, no, it's faster.
Faster.
Like versus having to basically translate what the human codes in, it basically is a direct port. I think that's huge. So really looking into like Rust SDKs and things like that, there's going to be something there. I'm not sure which one, but considering AVAX does have the potential partnership with Amazon, like pretty huge.
Mm-hmm. It is.
So especially just from a coding language area.
Real quick, we have 470 people watching, only 220 so likes. You guys know the goal is 420 likes every single episode.
Pitch party.
I did see somebody in the chat or in the comments the other day let me know they were the 420th like. Love it when you guys do that. So if you could smash the like button for us real quick, we'd really, really appreciate it. Helps get that news out there. Helps more people see BJ's beautiful face and hear the beautiful knowledge coming out of his brain.
Yeah. Like I say on my channel, it has nothing to do really with us wanting the likes. It's not only helps support the channel, it helps you realize that YouTube is actually now a mainstream media outlet. Think about how many people use YouTube. By hitting the like or subscribe on our videos or any crypto videos, you're actually helping the entire crypto ecosystem because you're letting YouTube know that this content is valuable to you. So it's a good thing to do.
Yeah, and real quick before we moved on, I just wanted to give a good shout out to William Anderson. Hope you're enjoying that road trip with your dad. Hope you guys are having a really good time. Can't wait to talk to you again soon. All right.
What about my sweet alts?
Oh, yeah, I was coming to you. I was going to go to you right after Drew because he kind of gave me a little segue, but then I got excited and wanted to jump in with mine.
He did.
Because he mentioned playing around with some of the other coins on the Cardano network, and I think that's something that is BJ's specialty.
I do like. Well, it's not my specialty. I just like it. I have no specialties in the crypto space.
Specialties. Don't listen.
My specialties are not in crypto at all. If you do the second laptop, it will pop
the man
up
with a flute.
Yeah, hamburger.
What?
But, we've done this discussion of kind of the differences between like Ethereum and some other things in Cardano. But if you check out a sweet website called Tap Tools, so hit second laptop, you have a button on the Stream
but
Deck.
the button didn't work. Yeah.
Oh, it should work. Did you break it? Break it? Cut. There
it is.
Cut. Sweet. Oh, it's just not working. Oh, no, there it is. It's slow. Maybe. Why is it picking the last one I did? All right, I'm going to give it a second.
You got to give it a second.
Give it a second. Maybe. There we go. So this website is super sick, Tap Tools. So whereas I think last bull run was that for Ethereum and Ethereum alt, so everybody was looking to layer 2 solutions. Maybe not the world's worst idea at all. We caught TJ on that. But I honestly think that Cardano will be the next one. So looking at a website like Tap Tools is super cool. If you want meme coins, obviously SNEC is one of those things. It's actually the number 8 meme coin across all ecosystems right now. It's had its ups, it's had its downs. Definitely be careful with that. These two I'm not familiar with at all, but Milk's actually a pretty cool one to check out, which actually is part of MuesliSwap's governance tokens and everything else as soon as this will switch back over to that screen. But there's only 10 million of them. I believe the 60% is out. So that's something I would definitely check out. And then if you're into doing a lot of DeFi stuff, lending and things like that, ADA is another one to look at. But this website, Tap Tools, is super cool. And just play around with this. Meld has been around for a while. I saw a couple people talking about Copy and things like that. This Wi-Fi has been popping up, but I'm definitely after this going to check out what IAG and gens are. Those might just be degen things because they are straight Jolly Green giant red green candles right now, and I'm not sure if I want to deal with that at all. But like SNEC, meme coin, Milk definitely worth looking at, and one that's not on here until you go lower down is going to be Charlie C3, which is the Oracle on Cardano, which I would definitely give a look at. But that's kind of like the main stuff I'm looking at.
The Oracle within Ethereum was that I was thinking of that I bought last cycle was Chainlink, and that did really good. You know what I mean? So look, and that's what my game plan was, is like what worked in the last cycle for me on Ethereum. I'm going to try to copy on Cardano because I can see, that they're pretty similar ecosystems. They've got the same kind of build out basically for availability, and I trust that Charles is going to stay behind it He's out. And I mean, I know he's chasing around special metals in submarines right now, but yeah.
And I did notice earlier somebody asked layer 2s over layer 1s or 0s this cycle. For me, it's kind of yes and no. So I have a handful of layer 1s right now. I do want to round that out with some of the ones that were mentioned here today. You guys know I like Cosmos, Avalanche, even Solana has some potential there. So I will have a smart contract platform niche. That's always my go-to, Bitcoin bag, smart contract platform niche, layer 2 scaling niche, which whether that's ZK or just layer 2s on Ethereum. And then get into further niches from there.
I know you're not playing Marvel Snap because you said you like Cosmo. Cosmo is just the most annoying control card in Marvel Snap.
That's so funny.
Somebody knows what I'm talking about.
Somebody out there does, and they're like, yes.
Somebody, Cosmo!
Okay, so real quick before we wrap it up, I've got some really deep picks. These are, again, I just like to share these guys so you guys can put them on your radar, keep an eye on them, do your own research on them. I don't necessarily know a lot about them, but these are coins that A16Z, one of the biggest crypto VC firms, are investing in. So watching what people like A16Z, why Coinbase Ventures, Jump Capital, a lot of these big crypto Web3 investors watching the projects they're putting money into now early. There we go.
I told you the button worked.
The first one did.
Well, it turned on.
Yeah. So anyway, keeping an eye on what they're doing and staying up to date with the projects. They might go bust, but if you see, oh hey, I remember keeping an eye on Scroll for the last couple of years and now it's popping up, I know a little bit about it. You don't have to start from zero. So, and looking, obviously the amount they put in matters. So if you guys don't know Andreessen Horowitz, they've been in this space for a long time. They kind of were the beginning of legitimizing it. Welcome in, Trippy. It's okay that you're late. We forgive you. We are almost done though.
I don't.
But the A16Z is one of the biggest crypto VC firms that currently manage funds worth $8 billion in size. They've recently started investing in a few crypto projects. Here are 7 projects that. Now, this part isn't true. They can't make you an easy 100x, but you should keep an eye on them. It'll make an A16Z an easy 100x because they funded them. But 100x is attainable within crypto, but it's not nearly as common as you might think it is. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50x's all day long, but 100x, guys, that's a lot. So anyway, Scroll VC investment, $50 million basically. Supercharging Ethereum scalability with its layer 2 solution. So it's another ETH layer 2 zero knowledge EVM setup. And some of these you guys, I had definitely heard of Scroll. I hadn't heard of Barachain. Creating space for DeFi protocols to build. It's an innovative proof of liquidity approach. So kind of a different twist on DeFi, 42 million investment there. Layer 0, definitely have heard of this one, 120 million investment. Mission to make the transferring funds and communicating between blockchains seamless. We've been fans for a while now and even featured them on a team podcast. So this is another one. Again,
I think Layer 0 is going to be a narrative in and of itself.
Yes, this is one to keep an eye on. I've definitely heard of this one. And this is kind of what I'm talking about.
Layer 0 or Layer Zeros?
Layer 0.
Because I was going to say,
and others. I think we're going to see others tap into the Layer 0 narrative.
So do we look at Nervos again?
Well, there's Polkadot and Cosmos. Those are the 2 common ones. But this is kind of where you could see like, oh, everybody knows Polkadot and Cosmos, and then this one comes out of nowhere and might blow those away. That's what we've seen in cycles past, just because they might have some newer technology, yada yada yada.
Yep.
Eigenlayer, I guess is how you would say that. 50 million investment, maximizing users' returns on staked Ethereum by allowing them to lend ETH to help secure other networks. This is another trend I'm seeing pop up, something that people are calling restaking.
That's interesting.
Yes, it's in. There's a lot that can be done with staking, optimized staking, and a lot of different stuff within the staking ecosystem. This is just another interesting one to keep your eye on. This one I thought was just funny. CCP,
all in
40 million investment. Crafting innovative blockchain game that traps its citizens and collects all of its data. No, I'm just kidding.
I was going to say, did they really choose their protocol name to be CCP?
I'm sure it stands for something.
They got NFTs.
Yeah, we know what it stands for.
Yeah,
they got NFTs of Tiananmen Square.
Exactly. Towns, I've heard of this one as well. Creating a decentralized social platform where your data remains yours and yours alone. 25 million investment. So I'll share this with you guys so you can keep your eye on these, but just wanted to get that out there before the end of the show. Things to...
I'm all in on CCP.
No, you do the Paris Hilton gif and it says that's hot.
That's hot. No, things to watch.
God, have you never been on the internet? Do you even know how to meme?
Nope, I don't.
do you even meme, bro?
Do you even meme? All right, there we go. So now you guys can go find that, or it's in the Discord as well. If you guys are part of the OG members, if you support the channel, if you're in the Discord chat, you see all of this stuff dropped in TJ's alpha well before we cover it on the show. I probably dropped some of this morning, some of it over the weekend. I didn't really talk. Oh, well, one more thing I did want to touch. Drew mentioned ZK Sync. This is probably, at least right now, this is one of my favorite deep picks that I think has high potential. Obviously, it's extremely risky. Hasn't even really launched yet for the most part, but they released a ZK stack for building hyperchains. This is kind of similar to what OP did with releasing their development stack so people could develop chains on there, or, so Matter Labs released ZK stack for building hyperchains alongside and on top of the ZK Sync era. Like I said, echoes the actions of optimism. Matter Labs this morning, so they're just going to restate it again. So it's pretty interesting as a zero knowledge scaling platform. Like I said, this is another one that's got big players behind it, big investment behind it. I think it's all A16Z, Coinbase Ventures. I can't remember if Jump was in this one or not, but a lot of the big dogs in Web3 investing are behind ZK Sync. Something that you should keep an eye on. And I forgot to mention, somebody did in the chat say earlier to be careful with alts until July, because we are going to see a lot of unloading. I know Robinhood is delisting certain things, which anybody that's holding a lot of the alts they had on there they're not going to self-custody them, most likely. They're just going to roll them back to Bitcoin and Ethereum. Got the same thing happening with all the Celsius assets. So looking at, and there was a potential trade there where if you look at, they hold a lot of Cardano, for example, but they don't hold a lot of Solana, so if you can look at, we know in the next month, a handful of these alts are all going to be getting converted back to Bitcoin and Ethereum, and we could see some significant dumps. Just something to keep in the back of your mind. Yeah, I think it's July 1st. Yeah, did I say end of July?
But do you see Bitcoin pumps because the exchanges have to buy Bitcoin?
That's what's interesting. Bitcoin and Ethereum dominance, I do expect it to go up because yes, a lot of these things will get converted back to Bitcoin and ETH. So just something to be aware of.
Never mind. Kelly was doing the very Steve Buscemi "Hello, fellow kids" a second ago.
Hey,
I don't know if anybody gets that reference.
I don't. I mean, I know who Steve Buscemi is, but I don't know.
Was that from not Mr. Deeds?
Is it Mr. Deeds? He's in every Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah, but it's specifically where he's got the skateboard and he's like, "Hello, fellow kids."
Don't go to school.
That's the feds when they show up at Patriot
Schools for
rallies.
fools. Look at me.
Yeah, hello, fellow patriots.
Yeah. All right, I think that's pretty much all we have time for today. We love all of you guys. The smiley faces, Ryan Anderson, Cryptos for Liberty, hell yeah. The Deadwood, Crimson Caravan Company, Multisig Dummy, Alex Green, Patrick Young, Danny Carney, Manawalk, Tyler Durden, Mike Bennett, Pedro Neves, Crypto, Michael Moore, Chemistry Bro, Gary Austin, Skid Marks, Free Kip, Green Day Profits, Michael Moore, Owen, BJ, Drew, Kelly. We love all of you guys. We will see you next time. We'll be in the Discord. In the meantime,
Peace out, yo.
Stay safe. Bye, Bitcoin.